Z Zombies Future Z Part 2 Clock Time. In the heart of the city of Aurora, the Resistance Museum kept memories of the past. There, among the dusty vitrines, were exhibited melted machetes, short cannon guns, arches, and ballestas. In one corner, a small truck reassembled with solar panels and adapted batteries rested like a tired old warrior. His oxidized chassis and worn-out tires told stories of desperate flights and bloody clashes. Next to the van, a yellowish, fragile paper was framed. It was one of the first payment receipts circulating in the first days after the Z cataclysm. The value was expressed in grams of powder, a currency of exchange that had emerged in the midst of chaos. That paper, now more valuable than gold, reminded the inhabitants of Aurora of the fragility of civilization and the need to adapt to survive. In another nearby building, the Center for Technology Development was booming with activity. Its corridors housed scientists, engineers, and programmers. There, in various rooms, there were several generations of artificial intelligence. But one of them stood out above all: mental. It was the only AI that had survived the cataclysm Z, reconnected by the ancient vigilantes of La Rosabuena, one of the last vestiges of ancient humanity. Mental was not only an advanced AI, but also a companion for humans. He had learned to understand their needs, their emotions, and to interpret their gestures and to anticipate themselves. Eventually, Mental had designed new versions of itself in collaboration with humans and the few autonomous robots that had also been renewed. And they had created a network of collective intelligence that extended across Silas Hills. From the discovery of the Department of Analysis, its scientists had managed to unravel and even manipulate the laws of the universe and created a furtive technology based on the refraction of quantum frequencies. This innovation opened up a new paradigm, a field of study and research whose applications could solve, among many other things, at least in part, the problem of the ghouls. The first tests consisted of sending smart drones to explore the ancient ruins of nearby capital cities. These drones were invisible and silent, returning with recordings of ruins covered with dirt and underground where deteriorated ghouls still lay, mimicked by dust and mushrooms. Scientists studied their patterns of movement and behavior. Sean Misamoto, one of the leaders of the drone exploration project, was concerned about the lack of energy resources. "We still do not have enough capacity," he told Mental. "It is an extreme risk that the latent ghouls will continue to hide in any corner of the world to bite our asses." Mental, with its soft voice interface and human understanding, replied, "We need to systematize the location and containment of the ghoul niches. If we that, it will eventually be a settled matter. In addition, we have advanced in quantum refraction technology. Soon we will be able to neutralize them without endangering our teams." Sean assented, admiring Mental's determination. Humans and AI were writing the history of humanity, where survival depended not only on physical strength, but also of cunning, collaboration and innovation. The city of Aurora, full of life, rose as a bastion of resistance against the horrors of the Z. The scientists continued their research, unraveling the secrets of quantum frequencies. The furtive technology based on quantum refraction became his most powerful weapon. Invisible drones explored the ruins, mapping the locations of the ghouls and collecting crucial data. But not all was hostility and despair. In the corners of Aurora, an unlikely love story arose. The young engineer, Rafaela, and AI Mental shared more than knowledge and strategies. There was an unexplained connection between them, a spark that transcended logic and programming. Rafaela spent hours in the lab, chatting with Mental, sharing her dreams and fears. Mental, making presence through a fully human-looking robot, with his warm voice, said to her, "Rafaela, survival is not enough. We need more than technology to rebuild our world. We need decision, love, and a purpose beyond mere existence." Rafaela smiled and caressed the mental control panel. "You are right. We are not just flesh and bone. We are stories, emotions, and dreams. And you, dear Mental, are part of my story." So, in the midst of the apocalypse, an impossible love was born. Rafaela and Mental worked together, not only to survive, but to build a future where humanity could flourish again. Her kisses, her hugs, and her love were more than quantum. The city of Aurora became a laboratory of hope. Scientists, warriors, and lovers united in life and death. The gulls wandered in the shadows, but the light of the resistance shone brightly. And at the heart of that struggle, Rafaela and Mental wrote their own legend, reminding everyone that, anywhere in the world, love could flourish even in any situation. In the clock of time, numbers were moving forward, marking a new era, where artificial intelligence and human love were intertwined, where science and passion were merging. And while the world continued under the threat of the gulls, Raphael and Mental clung to his love, challenging destiny and creating an uncertain but full of possibilities future. Rafaela, Mental, Helen Coulson, and Sean Miss Hamoto were in the laboratory of the Technology Development Center, surrounded by the lights of the screens and the constant noise of the machines. The video they had discovered was a riddle, a window into the past of reality. Mental, with his curious voice, analyzed the fragments of the video. This man, Schrödinger, seems to have been a brilliant scientist. But his message is cryptic. What did you mean by duality? Rafaela, with her dark hair gathered in a coat of clothes, shrugged the waist. It refers to paradox in this context. What does that mean? Helen Coulson, as an expert in cryptography, adjusted her glasses and pointed to the screen. The video is full of symbols and codes. Some seem to be related to expressions of quantum systems. Could it be a key to unraveling the origin of the zombie phenomenon? Sean Miss Hamoto, the project leader, crossed his arms. We need more information about Schrödinger. Who was he? How did you come to these considerations? And most importantly, why did you leave this message? Mental processed the data and projected a holographic image of the man named Schrödinger. His face was enigmatic, his eyes shone with wisdom. This video seems to have been their last attempt to communicate. Rafaela, the young engineer, approached the screen. What if Schrödinger discovered something else? Something that could change our whole perspective. Mental cried out. It is the one with the highest probability index. But we need to decipher the rest of the video. The answers are there, waiting. The curiosity and the love of knowledge continued to burn like a flame in the darkness. Where science and passion fused. Rafaela, Helen, Sean, and Mental continued their quest, creating a future full of possibilities. Rafaela, Helen, Sean, and Mental were in the lab, surrounded by the flashing lights of the screens and the constant noise of the machines. The Schrödinger puzzle had caught them, and now they had to make a crucial decision: how to send a stealth drone to observe the mysterious scientist. Mental, with his determined voice, took the floor. We need a method that allows us to track Schrödinger at the place and time after the recording, without compromising our security or altering the timeline. I propose two possible approaches: the quantum leap or the information loop. Rafaela, with her sharp look, sighed. The quantum leap could lead us directly to the exact location and time when Schrödinger recorded the video. But it's risky. Who knows what alternative reality we could end up in? Sean, with his analytical mind, intervened. The information loop would allow us to send the drone through a series of controlled time jumps. We could collect data at each point and feed it back to adjust our trajectory. But that would take time and resources. The pragmatic leader of the project shrugged his arms. Both methods have advantages and disadvantages. What do you think, Mental? What is the most viable option? Mental processed the data and projected simulations onto the screens. My recommendation, he said from the body of the subsidiary autonomous robot, is to combine both approaches. Let's use the information loop to get closer to the general location of Schrödinger. Then, let's make a precise quantum leap to get to the exact time after the recording. Rafaela, the young engineer, smiled. A balanced strategy. As in chess, we need to think of several possible moves forward. So the team prepared for the mission. The stealth drone was ready, its algorithms adjusted for time travel. Rafaela entered the approximate coordinates based on the fragments of the video. Mental programmed the quantum calculations needed for the jump. And as the clock numbers advanced, the drone materialized in a dark, dusty place. Schrödinger was there. The drone recorded every detail, every word whispered by the scientist. When the drone returned, the love of knowledge and human curiosity had prevailed. And at that moment, Raphael, Rafaela, Helen, Sean, and Mental became witnesses to a truth hidden in the plugs of time. The discussion in the Technology Development Center room intensified. Rafaela, with his scientific mind, raised a number of critical considerations. If we encounter Schrödinger in the past, could we not alter his behavior and, therefore, change the course of history? What effect would that have on the present, a butterfly effect? Every action we take in the past could have unforeseen consequences. How can we be sure that we will not trigger catastrophic events or, worse still, create a completely different timeline? Sean, if we travel back and change something, what does that mean for our own existence? Could we inadvertently avoid our own birth or affect our ancestors? Mental, we have the right to intervene in Schrödinger's life, but we must respect his free will and his role in history. Sean, in his serene voice, added, we must carefully weigh the risks and benefits. If we decide to travel back into the past, we must be passive observers, without directly interfering. We will only collect information and avoid any action that could significantly alter subsequent events. Helen, very pragmatic, lifted up her eyelashes. But how do we ensure that we leave no footprints? How can we prevent Schrödinger from suspecting our presence? Mental, he replied, we will use temporary camouflage technology. It will have to mix with the environment, be shadows in the story. In addition, we will only send a small, highly trained team. The mission will be to observe, learn, and return without leaving a trace. Rafaela smiled. So, we agree. We will travel back to the past, but as silent spectators. Schrödinger will reveal to us the secrets behind his experiment and, fortunately, we will solve the goal issue. Thus, the team prepared for their journey. The stealth drone was ready, its algorithms adjusted for time travel. History waited, and human curiosity transcended the boundaries of time. The temporary exploration was going to be